So we'll start off by glorifying the Lord. And since it's Lord Nityananda's appearance day, I thought of singing the song Nadia Gujruma Nityananda Mahajan. So let's go. Nadia Gujruma Nityananda Mahajan. Nadia Gujruma Nityananda Mahajan. Pati Achana Mata Jivera Kara Pati Achana Mata Jivera Kara Nadia Godrumanicha Nanda Mahajan Shadavan Jane Shadavan Jane Shadavan Jane, Shadavan Jane, Prabhu Rai Ghar Mahiye Diksha, Prabhu Rai Ghar Mahiye Diksha. Bolo Krishna Koro Krishna. Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Guru Krishna Siksha. Bolo Krishna Bhaja Krishna Guru Krishna Siksha. Nadhiya Godruma Nitya and Mahajan. Nadhiya Godruma Nitya and Mahajan. Aparada Sanya ho, Loho Krishna na. Aparada Sanya ho, Loho Krishna na. Krishna Mata Krishna Pita, Krishna Pranadhan. Krishna Mata Krishna Pita, Krishna Pranadhanathan. Krishna re samsara koro chariyana cha. Krishna ra samsara koro chariyana cha. Jiva doyo Krishna nam sarva dharma sam. Jiva doyo Krishna nam. Jiva doyo Krishna nam sarva dharma sam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. So we'll just read the translation now of this beautiful song. Translation goes as follows. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Gujruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up a marketplace of the holy name, where the deliverance of the fallen, where the deliverance of all fallen souls, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. O people of faith, O people of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg these 3 requests of you. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, and teach others about Krishna. Being careful to remain free of offenses, just take the holy name of the Lord. Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your father, and Krishna is the treasure of your life. Giving up all sinful activities, carry on your worldly duties only in relation to Krishna. the, the showing of compassion to other souls by loudly chanting the holy names of Krishna is the essence of forms of religion. So this song was written by His Grace Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and very beautiful song glorifying Lord Nityananda. So devotees, now we'll just read something to you from from Islam Desire Tree. Actually, it's relating to the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, and we see here that it is being described in the chapters of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that when it's entitled Lord Nityananda's Early Childhood Pastime. This chapter describes the childhood pastimes of Nityananda up to his 12th year, during which time he reenacted the divine pastimes of Krishna, Rama, Vamana, and the other avatars of Vishnu. This chapter also describes his tour of different holy places, which continue until his 12th year. On the order of Gaura Krishna, Anantadev had already made his appearance in the village of Ekachakra in Radhadesh. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu appeared like the moon from the sea of the womb of Padmavati, the wife of Hadai Oja. And just like the rising moon, he dispelled all the darkness covering the land of Radha by his auspicious appearance. As a child, Nityananda constantly played with his boyhood friends, imitating the pastimes of Krishna. So there's a verse here. I'll just read the English. On the order of Gaura Krishna, Anantadev had already made his appearance in the village of Ekachakra in Radhadesh. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu appeared like the moon from the sea of the womb of Padmavati, the wife of Hadai Oja. And just like the rising moon, he dispelled the darkness covering the land of Radha by his auspicious appearance. So once his friends took the role of the assembly of gods, who were desirous of petitioning the Lord to relieve the burden of the evil oppressing the earth. Nityananda Prabhu took with him a child who was dressed as the earth, and together with the children who enacted the roles of different assembled gods. He went to the banks of the river Ganges. There he addressed the Lord who rests in the ocean of milk, Kshiradakshai Vishnu. At that time, one of the children took part as Lord Vishnu, and hiding unseen by the other children, spoke in a grave voice that all could hear. I shall surely be born in Golok Mathura to lighten the burden of the earth. Just give me a second. I just want to close this window. So Nityananda Prabhu enacted the different pastimes of Krishna, and the Lord performed during the Dwapar age. He enacted the pastimes of the marriage of Devaki and Vasudeva, the birth of Krishna in the prison of Kamsa, and the journey of Vasudeva to Nandagram, and how he carried Krishna over the Yamuna river, as well as his return from Nandagram, and how he brought Mahamaya, who had appeared as the daughter of Yashoda, with him. He enacted the slaying of Putana, the breaking of the cart, Krishna's bhakta, stealing pastimes, and slaying the demons, Denuka, Aga, and Baka. He also displayed the pastimes of the pasturing of the cows and the lifting of Govardhan Hill, the stealing of the gopis' clothes, and the Lord's bestowal of mercy upon the wives of the sacrificial brahmanas. He performed the pastimes of sending secret advice to Kamsa in the guise of Narada, the killing of the Kavalya elephant, and, and the restless Chanura and Mustika, and the killing of Kamsa. So I just want to relate a story, pastime to you. Once when the Lord was enacting the pastime of Lord Ravichandra, then he took the role as Lakshmana because he is Nityananda, non-different from Lakshman. And, when the powerful arrow of Ravana struck, and then, the pastime when Lakshman actually fainted, and he and then the Lord Lord Ram sent Hanuman to get the herb from the Gandhamadana mountains, and Lord Hanuman couldn't find the herb, so he brought the whole mountain and came. Okay, and then from there they could actually take out the herb in order to cure Lakshman. So in this way, everybody was so perturbed, they didn't know what to do, because Lord Nityananda actually in that pastime, he actually he fainted, and there was no sign of of him breathing or anything of that sort. And the devotees were so worried, like, what's going to happen now that Nityananda has actually fainted, and how can we bring him back to life? So just then another devotee remembered that Lord Nityananda said that if he has to faint, then Hanuman must go and get the herb from the mountain and bring it and cure him. So although it was just a play, but the Lord had really really fainted, and they didn't know how to bring him back. So eventually the boy who played Hanuman, he went and he brought the herb, and in this way Lord Nityananda was recovered. So just in play, basically. So he went and got some herbs, and he brought it to Lord Nityananda, and he revived Lord Nityananda in this way. So we see that the Lord, although he is playing, enacting these pastimes, but still he took it very personally, because he was Lakshman in his prior avatar. So in this way, we can see that his mood as Lakshman actually surfaced at that time. So the Lord also, after he enacted these pastimes, then after he grew up to the age of 12, then a Brahmin came by, and the Brahmin asked his father, Hadai Pandit, please, can I take your son on pilgrimage? I need a servant, so I need to take your son on pilgrimage. And Hadai Pandit, he was reluctant to actually send Nityananda, because he was so attached to Lord Nityananda, right? So although he did not know that Lord Nityananda was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but we see that in these pastimes that the Lord was is so attached to at least the father was so attached to Lord Nityananda that he did not want to send him, but because he was a Brahmana and he could not refuse a Brahmana, reluctantly he said okay. So the Brahmana took Lord Nityananda on pilgrimage, and they went to the south of India, and eventually they reached Navadvip. And we see now, I'm going to read to you the pastime of how the Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya met. So this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, or the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda 3.1-3. So there's a verse that goes like this. So before we read the Chaitanya Bhagavat, we'll just say some prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopeka Kanta Radhakanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchikalpatarubheshu Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the verse goes as follows. Before we say the verse, Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So the verse from the Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Kanda 3.1-3 goes as follows. Janiya Aila Jata Navadvipa Pure Asya Rahila Nandanacharya Ghare. So it actually will read the as soon as Lord Nityananda realized that Lord Chaitanya had manifested himself, he quickly went to Navadvip. When he arrived, he resided at the house of Nandan Acharya. So that's a translation of the verse. And we'll just read the purport of this verse. Just trying to find it. Okay, Lord Nityananda was staying in Vrindavan, waiting until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his Sankirtan pastimes in Navadvip. When Lord Nityananda came to know that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu had started his Sankirtan movement, he traveled to Navadvip Dham. Nandanacharya was very happy to receive Lord Nityananda at his house, where he offered him a place to stay and also arranged for his prasad. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood that Lord Nityananda had reached Navadvip. He felt great happiness within his heart and informed all the Vaishnavas, "Oh, my dear brothers, within the next 2 or 3 days, a great personality will come here." But no one could understand about whom the Lord was talking. One morning, after Lord Gauranga had concluded his worship of Lord Vishnu, he came to meet with the devotees. The Lord said, "Today I had a very wonderful dream. A great chariot called Talajvaja came and stopped in front of my house. Sitting on the chariot was a great personality with a huge body who was holding a club over his shoulder, and in his left hand was Kamandalu, pot bound to a stick. He was wearing a blue cloth, had a blue turban on his head, and a wonderful earring was hanging from his left ear. So if you know anything about Lord Nityananda, he's not different from Lord Balaram, and he wears one earring here on the left ear, just one earring, right? So on the left ear. So, you know, sometimes the boys, we see they wear one earring like this. So they basically got this idea from Lord Nityananda or Lord Balaram, because Balaram wears one earring, right? So upon seeing this character, I felt that he had the mood of Halidar, Lord Balaram. He asked me 10 or 20 times, is this the house of Nimai Pandit? He looked like a great avadut. I have never seen such a personality. I felt very respectful to him and asked him, "Oh, great personality, who are you?" He smiled and said, "I am your brother. Tomorrow we will meet each other." From this dream, I think a great person must have come to Navadvip. I have told you before that very soon we will meet with a great personality. Oh Haridas, oh Shrivas, please go and find out whether he has already arrived. So we see here that Lord Nityananda had already arrived, and he's at the house of Nananacharya Prabhu. And Lord Chaitanya, he is explaining his dream to the devotees, and he's telling them that this great personality has come, and you know, and he's asking Haridas Thakur, such a personality anyway. After searching for him all over for 9 hours, they finally came back to Lord Gaurachandra and informed him, "We searched for this personality everywhere, in the houses of all Vaishnavas, sannyasis, and grihastas, even in the homes of all atheists, but we do not find him anywhere. We have searched all over Navadvip, but we have not gone to other villages." Upon hearing this, Lord Gaurachandra smiled and explained to them how this personality, Lord Nityananda, is very confidential. Not everyone can find him unless Lord Gauranga himself reveals him. He cannot be found. Lord Gauranga said, "All of you, come with me. We will go and search for him together." Lord Gauranga, along with all the devotees, went to Nanda Acharya's house. There they saw this great jewel among all persons. He was as effulgent as millions of suns. He was in immense meditative bliss and was always laughing. Mahaprabhu understood his great devotion, and along with all his associates offered obeisances to him. All stood there with respect. No one said a word. They just looked on silently. Lord Vishwambara stood in front of that personality. He recognized Lord Nityananda, the Lord of his life. So we see here that Lord Nityananda, you know, he went on pilgrimage with this sadhu, and he was waiting for the Lord to start his Sankirtan movement. And only when the Lord started his Sankirtan movement, then only Lord Nityananda came to Navadvip, right? So Lord Nityananda also recognized his Lord. In ecstasy, Lord Nityananda became stunned and looked upon Lord Vishwambar with undeviated, focused attention in such a way that it seemed as if he was licking with his tongue, drinking through his eyes, embracing with his arms, and smelling through his nose. Thus Nityananda became silent and motionless. Everyone was surprised to see this, but Lord Gaura Rai could understand everything. In order to reveal Lord Nityananda's Swarup to everyone, Lord Gaurachandra devised a plan. He made an indication to Shiva's Pandit to recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Understanding the desire of the Lord, Shiva's Pandit recited the following verse. So, in order to show everyone who Lord Nityananda is, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Shiva's Pandit to recite this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we see this beautiful verse and what happens thereafter, right? Varhapidam nata varapapu karanayu karinakaram bipradvasa kanaka kapisham vijayanti chamalam randhra venur adhara sudaya purayo yangopa vrindaranyam swapada ramanam pravisad gita kritihi. The translation goes as follows. So this verse is from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:21-5. Wearing a peacock feather ornament on his head, blue nikara flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland, like Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. So as soon as Lord Nityananda heard this verse, he immediately fell down and lost his external consciousness. When Lord Nityananda fainted in ecstasy, Lord Gauranga instructed Shivas to recite more and more. By hearing again and again, Lord Nityananda regained his external consciousness and began to cry. Hearing the verse repeatedly increased his ecstasy, and he started roaring like a lion. He was jumping high in the air and falling to the ground. Everyone was thinking that his bones would break. Even the Vaishnavas were afraid what to speak of others. Everyone prayed to Lord Krishna, saying, "Please save him, please save him." So Lord Nityananda was rolling on the ground, his whole body drenched with tears. He was looking at the face of Vishwambar and breathing heavily, experiencing ecstasy within his heart and laughing loudly. So we see that here, Lord Nityananda was experiencing ecstatic symptoms, right? And he was, he was besides himself, basically, right? And he was in so much of ecstasy that he was laughing loudly and roaring, and in this way, he was crying as well, tears were coming forth of his eyes. Sometimes he was dancing and sometimes he was bending down. Sometimes he was beating his arms and other times he was jumping, which was a very amazing sight. By seeing this most wonderful ecstasy due to madness for Lord Krishna, Sri Gauranga cried along with all Vaishnavas. Constantly, the happiness increased. No one was able to catch hold of Lord Nityananda, and after their failed attempts, Lord Vishwambar himself took Lord Nityananda on his lap. As soon as Lord Nityananda reached the top of Vishwambar, he became quiet and surrendered his life to him. Lord Nityananda was floating in the water of love of Sri Chaitanya. He looked exactly like Lakshmana when he was hurt by the Shakti weapon of Indrajit. And Vishwambar looked exactly like Ramachandra, holding his wounded brother on his lap. Lord Nityananda fainted, pierced by the arrows of Prema Bhakti. Lord Gaurachandra was crying, holding Lord Nityananda. After some time, Lord Nityananda regained his external consciousness, and the devotees started to chant Hari Hari and Jai Jai. Nityananda and Gaurachandra just looked at each other without saying anything as tears flowed from their eyes. Then Lord Gauranga started glorifying Lord Nityananda by saying, Today is a very auspicious day because I have seen Bhakti Yoga in you, which is the essence of all Vedas. Without the energy of Ishvara, how can anyone exhibit tears and other symptoms like these? By serving you, one will get Krishna Bhakti. You have come to purify all 14 planetary systems. You are the personification of Krishna Bhakti. Now I understand that Krishna has brought you here to give me your association, which will definitely deliver me. After glorifying Nityananda for some time, Lord Gauranga asked fearfully, kindly tell me, where have you come from? Nityananda, who has a childlike nature and was talking like a child, said, I had set off for the Tirtha Yatra pilgrimage. I went to see all the holy places of Sri Krishna, but wherever I went, I saw only empty places without Krishna. I asked some gentlemen, why this is so? Why are all these simhasans empty without Krishna? I asked some, empty. Oh, my dear brothers, please tell me in which direction Krishna has gone. They replied that Krishna has gone to Goda Des. Just a few days ago, he went to Nadia after visiting Gaya. There is a great Hari Sankirtan happening in Nadia. Some said Lord Nityananda has appeared there. I heard the deliverer of fallen souls has appeared in Nadia. Hearing this great news, a fallen soul like me has come here. Mahaprabhu said, we are all very fortunate that a great devotee like you has arrived here. By seeing the flow of bliss in you, we have been blessed today. Thus Lord Nityananda and Gaurachandra met each other at Nandana Acharya's house. Whoever listens to this description will become free from material bondage and receive pure Krishna Bhakti. So we see here that we are given an ashirvad, a blessing, that whoever hears about the description of the meeting of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will become free from material bondage and will receive pure Krishna Bhakti. So how fortunate are we that we actually read this today and, trying to describe the glories of Lord Nityananda and how he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the ecstatic symptoms that he displayed. And, this meeting between two great souls or, personalities of Godhead has actually, it is actually for our benefit because we are actually getting an ashirvad, a blessing from reciting this pastime. So I just want to relate another incident of Lord Nityananda to you. We see that, Lord Nityananda, when Lord Chaitanya had left him in Navadvip to preach, actually, and he went to Jagannath Puri, right? So when he went to Jagannath Puri, Lord Nityananda was preaching, and there he would roll on the ground. He'd go to someone's house, and he'll ask them to chant Hare Krishna. And when they don't chant, he would plead to them, please chant Hare Krishna, because this is going to save you. And, they won't chant. So what would he do? He would roll on the ground, and he would, whatever was on his way, he would smash. And in this way, he would plead to them, you please, I won't stop this. If you don't chant Hare Krishna, I won't stop. So he kept on rolling and rolling, in their house, basically, in order for them to chant Hare Krishna, because he knows the importance of chanting the Maha Mantra. And, just by once one chants the Maha Mantra, he's relieved from all sin, right? If one chants purely the holy names, all his sin is vanquished. So here, Nityananda, in this way, he was performing Harinam Sankirtan, right? Going to door, knocking on people's door and begging them to chant the holy names of Krishna. So, we should try to follow in his footsteps, right? People won't want to take up to the chanting of Hare Krishna. Okay, we cannot roll on the floor and, display activities like Avadut did. Avadut means, he's basically a great personality besides himself. We cannot do that, but we can distribute some books at least, right? To save the fallen conditioned souls of this world. And so Lord Nityananda, he would perform Harinam like this. And, once he came upon Jagai and Madai, right? And he asked them to chant the holy names, and they wouldn't chant. They would laugh at him, and they would chastise him, in the drunken stupor. They would actually, they would run behind him and try to hit him. So once they were, running, chasing Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur. This is being described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat as well, that these two brothers were chasing the Lord and trying to hit him, right? And they were chasing both Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda. And Haridas Thakur, he says, Lord Nityananda, like, you're a crazy man. Why have you brought me to this place, to preach to these sinful rascals? We should just give it up and just, do something else. And as they were running, Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda, they were having this conversation. And he says, you're a madman and you want to make me a madman like you, So, and then Lord Nityananda, anyway, they ran away that day. Right. But the second day they said, no, they would go and try again. So he did not fail. He went again to these two brothers, Jagai and Madai. And, he was pleading with them, like, please chant the holy names of Krishna, please. And they were so drunk and they were besides themselves. And then they abused Lord Nityananda, in which they took a pot and they struck his head. And it started to bleed. And the news of this went to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he immediately came there, and he was about to behead them with his Sudarshan Chakra when Lord Nityananda held his feet and he pleaded with the Lord, please, my Lord, do not do this. You have descended in this age of Kali to save all the inhabitants of this age. So if you kill him, then you need to kill everyone else, because most of the people are in this condition today. So please do not do this. He begged the Lord not to kill him. He says, in this day and age, you have descended not to kill anyone, but to kill the bad qualities within their hearts. So like this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he withdrew his Sudarshan Chakra and he did not kill these two brothers, but because Lord Nityananda pleaded with him, and we see that Jagai and Madai seeing this, when they came to their senses, then they actually realized that, Lord Nityananda had saved them. And in this way, they surrendered to the Lord, and they became great devotees of the Lord. So they were in so much of, basically, they were so regretful that they asked the Lord, like, we have done this to you, my dear Lord. Please tell me, what can I do now to, mitigate this offense that I made to you? What can I do? And then the Lord instructed both of them, go and build a gut, uh, at the bank of the river Ganges, and whichever pilgrims come there, wash their feet, and in this way you'll be relieved from this great offense. So there's a ghat in on the banks of the Ganges, and it's called the Jagai and Madai Ghat. And there, these two brothers, they would wash the feet of all the pilgrims that came to the Ganges. So yeah, I just wanted to relate that pastime. There's another beautiful pastime that I actually found in the Nityananda Charitamrita. So there's a Chaitanya Charitamrita and there's a Nityananda Charitamrita. If I can remember the pastime clearly, I will narrate it to you. Okay, it's about these dacoits, right? And when they saw the beauty of Lord Nityananda and all the so Lord Nityananda is an avadut, right? And he would dress to kill. He would he would wear this wonderful jewelry on his neck and bangles in his armlets and chains and and ankle bells, and he would look so effulgent and so beautiful, and he would go all over like this. And these thieves, they said, hey, you know what, this is a nice chance for us, let's go follow him, and wherever he goes, at night we will go to the house and we would rob him of all his jewelry. So in this way, Lord Nityananda was in Navadvip, and then he went, and he was at one of the devotees' houses. I forget who the devotee was actually, but yeah, and he, they were performing Sankirtan, but whole night and whole day, whole night they were singing the glories of Krishna, and they were chanting Hare Krishna. So at night, so these dacoits came, and they would peep through the window and see what's happening, and like this they would wait for nightfall to come so that they could go and attack. So it so happened that this Sankirtan Yagya just went on and on and on, and these dacoits, they actually fell asleep. And when they got up in the morning, they said, hey, what happened? We fell off to sleep, and we couldn't actually get what we wanted. Now our mission wasn't accomplished. So, and they start blaming each other, like, why didn't you wake me up? Why did you fall asleep? So in this way, they start hitting each other. So anyway, they said, okay, they'll come the next night. So the next night came, and the same thing. They stood outside the house and they waited in like this, and it so happened that the next night, I'm not sure what happens, but on the third night, so also they plan was basically foiled, and on the third night when they were coming to the house, so this is the mercy of Lord Nityananda, right? So they fell into a ditch and they covered themselves with all the muck and grime that was in this ditch, and then they fell onto a thorny bush, and they were scratched all over. And as they were coming now, to this house, so many things happened in this way. And eventually, when they came to the house, they realized that this is the Lord that we are dealing with, and we shouldn't have actually did this, because this is Lord Nityananda. They came to their senses and they realized that the personality who they're dealing with is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they went into the house and they surrendered themselves unto Lord Nityananda, and they told him that we came here to rob you of your jewelry, but in this way. And they related the whole incident, what had happened to them on the first night, on the second night, and the third night. And then they came and surrendered themselves to the Lord. So in this way, we see Lord Nityananda, he forgave them and he asked them to chant the Mahamantra. And he said, from today on, you are going to be devotees of the Lord, and you have surrendered yourselves. So now you're going to chant the holy names of Krishna. So in this way, we see how merciful Lord Nityananda is, that he actually made all these arrangements for this dacoits to come and surrender unto his lotus feet. So, dear devotees, even us, we also have all these unwanted anarthas in our hearts, all these weeds in our heart. And just by chanting and praying to Lord Nityananda on his appearance day, then we can remove all this anarthas from our heart and all this dirt that's within the heart. And in this way become eligible to go back to the spiritual world and join Lord Nityananda in his Harinam Sankirtan. Actually, at the moment, also we are performing the Lord's Leela in this age of Kali. We are assisting Srila Prabhupada in performing this Harinam Sankirtan, and it's part of the Lord's Leela. It's part of the Lord's pastimes. And who knows, in the future, all these however one preaches will be recorded, for other people to read and to understand what the devotees went through in this Kali Yuga, distributing the holy names of Krishna. So I think I'll end here now. I related some pastimes to you of the glories of Lord Nityananda. And I think our time is up. Also, if you have anything you'd like to contribute to this class, you're most welcome to do so. Hare Krishna. Paramatma Prabhu, you can start.
Hare Krishna Maji, thank you for the class. Now, Maji, I was just listening and it's thank you so much. You said there was some benefit, some Ashirvad you mentioned. Is that the word, Maji? Ashirvad. Yeah, so we're very grateful if you can please point, let us know if there's any more Ashirvads that we can read about, so that we can also benefit in the future.
Yeah, actually, reading Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavatam is a blessing in itself, Okay. So yeah, so read these pastimes of the Lord.
You mentioned the Nityananda Charitamrita. So how do we get access to that?
This actually, I went to a devotee's house and spent a few days with her, and yes. She had this book, so I read the whole book, the whole of this Nityananda Charitamrita. It's very, very nectarian. Glories of love. But we don't have it here. I don't think we have it here. You may get it in India.
Okay, and is it ISKCON book, Mataji, or out of ISKCON?
Yeah, it's translated by an ISKCON devotee into English.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
nice. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Denton.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Just a question. You know, we've got a Hare Krishna calendar, which, you know, tells us when it's going to be, what day, and, you know, whether auspicious days, auspicious wedding days. Like, for example, today, Parents' Day of Lord Nityananda. Now, who sets those specific dates? Who says that that's the 2nd of February? How does that work?
Yeah, it's actually tomorrow. The appearance of Lord Nityananda is tomorrow. And we use the lunar calendar, actually. We use, how to actually, so I don't know how it's done, right? But there's a scientific way on how to, assume that, this auspicious days like this. So,
Right.
And also the fasting of Ekadasi is the 11th day of the waning and waxing of the moon, like that. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's planetary. Okay. I understand. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anything else, Shamay?
No, Mataji, thank you for the lovely class.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll just chant Hare Krishna and close off with the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, since it's Lord Nityananda's appearance day. Tomorrow, let's do some Harinam, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you very much. Hare Krishna dear devotees, Dandava Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna devotees.